Kimraha Huludunya, Fachagu, Olde Scot, the Celtic podcast. On today's show in Feuchamaich, Beagan, Gaidhlig, we will continue our 25-week beginner's Gaelic course with Lesson 7. We will talk about the Book of Invasions in our Celtic history segment, and you're going to hear why the Celts were so easily converted to Christianity in everyday Celtic ways. Now, throughout the program, we're going to hear music from the Corys, Needfire, Kim Robertson, and William Coulter. And as always, it's a wee bit of Irish trivia to test your knowledge to start us off. On putting his name on the Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921, who said, "I have signed my own death warrant." All right. Check out Olde Scot's Facebook group, where you can be a part of the Celtic culture, post memes, give ideas, tips, even criticism, but be nice. All right. Kershmaha, let's get started.
Daddy's knee, he said never forget what it cost to be free. Blood was spilled and good men died. Wherever you go, hold your head up high. Yeah, I'm young, free and Celtic, rocking all over the world. I'm young, free and Celtic, rocking all over the world. As I make my way, I'll stand my ground. There's nothing anyone can do to hold me down. Yeah, I'm young, free and Celtic, rocking all over the world. I'm young, free and Celtic, rocking all over the world. I kneel and pray. I say thank you to the man for every day. Yeah, I'm young, free and Celtic, rocking all over the world. I'm young, free and Celtic, rocking all over the world. I'm young, free and Celtic, rocking all over the world. Yeah, I'm young, free and Celtic, rocking all over the world.
Young, Free, and Celtic by Needfire, a great band from Texas. And now, on Tom and Feuchamaich Beck and Gaidhlig, it's time for Let's Try a Little Gaidhlig. Now, I do not represent myself as an authority on the Gaelic language, only someone who loves learning it and wants to help others. What I teach comes right from the textbooks of well-respected Gaelic teachers, so I hope you find it interesting, informative, and fun. Today is Lesson 7 in our 25-week course, and they are numbers and some useful vocabulary. Now, there's not going to be a test at the end of this today. Like I usually give you like 6 sentences to figure out. I'm going to give you a buttload of words here to learn, and I figured that's enough. All right, so let's dive right in. Numbers. So we're going to go right through these. Un, ja. Un is 1, ja is 2, tri is 3, keher is 4, cook is 5, shia 6, shach 7, ok 8, noi 9, and jech 10. And then go after that is un jig. If you notice, you just add the jig at the end after the initial number, and that gives you your continuing number. Un jig 11, da jig 12, tri jig 13, keher jig 14, cook jig 15, shia jig 16, shach jig 17, och jig 18, noi jig 19, and fiket 20. And the same applies here, except the word starts at the beginning, and you throw the other part of the number at the end. So after 20, it's fiket sahun 21, fiket sia 22, fiket satri 23, fiket sakeher 24, fiket sakuak 25, fiket shia 26, fiket shach 27, fiket ok 28, fiket noi 29, and jech hiket 30. All right, because that gets lenited there. All right. Other numbers, da hiket 40, da hiket sejech is 50. Also, le hiet, half of 100 is 50. Tri fiket 60, hiet is 100, and mila is 1,000. You've probably seen in Ireland or heard from Irish, Kiet Mila Faucha, 100,000 welcomes. That incorporates these two words here. Kiet for 100 and Mila for 1,000. All right. Let's move on to some words. Nouns. Q. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the noun, then I'm going to give it to you with a definite article. So, Q, and then it's NQ, the dog. Cat equals cat, then it's ncat, the cat. Tie, ntie, the house. Car, ncar, the car. Bornock, woman. Bornock, the woman. Dunya, man or husband, and Dunya, the man, the husband. Gila, boy, and Gila, the boy. Nian, girl or daughter. Nian, the girl or the daughter. Mook is pig. Vuk, the pig. Board, table. Board, the table. Boxa, box. Boxa, the box. Iesk, fish, and chiesk, the fish. Clíomh, tree, a chríomh, the tree. Clársic, harp, a chláirsic, the harp. Brogue, shoe, a bhróg, the shoe. Rahat, the road, an rod, the road. Oran, song, an choran, or an choran, the song. Uil, apple, and tool, the apple. Chora, sheep, a chora, the sheep. Poke, kiss, a folk, the kiss. Skin, knife, a skin, the knife. All right. And we're going to run through these same words, but we're going to do them as if you were using them as a plural. Nachoin, the dogs. Nachetch, the cats. Natayin, the houses. Nacherachin, the cars. Nabornok, the women. Nadunya, the men or the husbands. Nagilin, the boys. Nanianin, the girls. Namukin, the pigs. Naboord, the tables. Naboxikin, the boxes. Nahesk, the fish. Cleovin, the trees. Clársican, the harps. Broken, the shoes. Rohiden, the roads. Choran, the songs. Chulin, the apples. Chorach, the sheep. Polkin, the kisses. Skianin, the knives. All right. All right, now we're going to move on to some verbs. You got to have the imperative, which is the command, and the verbal noun, which is the present participle. And I display what I'm talking about. And in our displays, you're going to see that some of them are underlined. Now, these are irregular verbs, and irregular verbs are a little more complicated. We'll talk about them more later on in a different lesson. But for now, just realize that they're irregular verbs, and there's more that you need to know about them. All right. Aber, say. Ach, ra, saying. Cuddle, sleep. Achadal, sleeping. Brin, speak. Brin, speaking. Cluin, hear. Clunchin, hearing. Coit, look. Coit, looking. Koshik, air. A koshik, walking. Dance, dance. A dancing, dancing. Gian, make or do. A genitive, making or doing. Ish, listen. Ak, ishtik, listening. Fuck, leave. A fuckle, leaving. Feck, see. A fecking, seeing. Eat. Ak ihya, eating. Lay, read. A leg, reading. Liam, jump. A liam, jumping. Aber, work. Ak aber, working. Ol, drink. Ak ol, drinking. Polk, kiss. A polkig, kissing. Rock, go. A dole, going. Ruith, run. A ruith, running. Shall, see or look. A shoutin, seeing or looking. Shes, stand. A shessive, standing. Shine, sing, a shine, singing. Skriv, write, a skrivig, writing. Stat, stop, a stat, stopping. Streep, climb, a streep, climbing. Swi, sit, a swi, sitting. Halav, leave, a falav, leaving. Hick, come, a chian, coming. And kur, put, a hur, putting. All right. Remember that those were underlined or regular verbs, so we're not going to worry about that. They'll be discussed more in advanced learning, and just know that they're kind of oddball verbs. So, all right, that's it for Feuchamaich, Beagan, Gaidhlig.
I'm going to sing a song now about the English tourist coming up to Scotland for a holiday. Are there any English in the crowd tonight? Don't be so shy, then.
Come on, shout it out.
Oh, you're very welcome. In spite of everything. So you think you're going to the north to spend a holiday, 'cause you're vaguely Scottish on your mother's side. And you've heard of ancient glories, both renowned in song and story. Celts and haggis, Andy Stewart and Raclay. Ye go up by Crean-Larach, it's the gateway to the north, and the scenery will please your eyes, I'm sure. Ye take out your picnic basket, 'cause the car has blown a gasket in the middle of a place called Ranachmoor.
That's a little Scottish chorus.
So you telephone the garage listed in the tourist guide that was published for you by the RAC. But by design or by intention, or they just forgot to mention that the garage closes down by 3:30. So you're towed behind this tractor to a corrugated shed that's surrounded by farm implements and carts. And you scratch your head and wonder why you ever bought a Honda, 'cause they'll have to send to Tokyo for the parts. So you board the train for Oban and you get the boat to Mull, feeling like you've had a night upon the tiles. Ye pay 20 pence for coffee with a tang of diesel oil. You're experiencing the swindle o' the aisle. But your pulse begins to quicken with the thoughts of berry picking. So you take a trip to Gowrie for a spell, with some wellies o' your mother's that she bought in Ali Brothers, and a Gideon Bible pinched frae a hotel. So you're standing picking rasps, being stung to death by wasps. The midges and the clegs are making free, and the bairns have ate the berries and contracted dysentery, 'cause last week they sprayed the crop with DDT. So you're heading back to Birmingham, more waterlogged than tanned, but no signs of habitation can you see. When you thought you were in Berwick, you were actually in Lerwick, 'cause some vandal changed the signpost in Dundee.
Alright, that was A Scottish Holiday by the Corries. Today on Celtic History Break, the topic is Labor Gabalan Erin. Literally translated is the Book of the Taking of Ireland, also known as the Book of Invasions. Alright, the book is a collection of poems and prose narratives in the Irish language intended to be a history of Ireland and the Irish from the biblical creation of the world, which in Genesis, to the Middle Ages. Now, there are a number of versions, the earliest of which was compiled by an anonymous writer in the 11th century. Now, its narratives, which had been developing over the foregoing centuries, is intertwined with the Christian Old Testament. Now, the Book of Invasion tells of Ireland being settled or taken 6 times by 6 groups of people. The first, the people of Cessair. 2, the second group is the people of Partholon. 3 is the people of Nemid. 4, the Fir Bolg. 5, the Tuath Dedanan. And 6, the Milesians. The first 4 groups were wiped out or forced to abandon the island. The 5th group represents Ireland's pagan gods, while the final group represents the current Irish people today, the Gaels. Now, whoever wrote the Book of Invasions had to have a deep knowledge of the Bible, commensurate of that with a priest or a religious scholar, while at the same time having knowledge of the myths and legends of Ireland's past. Maybe a druid who had converted to Christianity or something like that. Now, common people at the time in the 11th century did not have access to the Bible in written form. Masses were held orally, and any religious copy text would have been a simple prayer sheet or what is referred to as the Common Book of Prayer. Now, most Celtic scholars of today believe the Book of Invasions to be just a work of fantasy and fiction. However, if you look close, you can see the bits and pieces of truth that permeate within its text. It is believed, and it is also my belief, that the writer sought to provide the Irish with an epic written history comparable to that of the Israelites of the Old Testament. Now, this history was meant to fit the newly Christian former pagan Irish into the Christian world chronology and trace them back to Adam. In doing so, it links them to the events from the Old Testament and tries to give them credibility through association, even likening them to the Israelites. Thus, we find the ancestors of the Irish enslaved in a foreign land, fleeing to exile, wandering in the wilderness, even sighting the promised land from afar, but also brings into play the pagan myths of Gaidhlig Ireland, such as the Tuath Dedanan, meaning the folk of the goddess Danu, or Tuath De, the tribe of the gods, but reinterprets them in the light of Christian theology, making these once powerful Celtic gods void of any real power when faced with the modern man. All right. Now, was it 6 invasions or is it 7? All right. Now we're going to go through these one at a time. The first one, according to the Book of Invasions, the first people to invade Ireland were implored to do so by a woman named Cessair. Cessair was the granddaughter of Noah from the Bible. She becomes aware of the impending flood and persuades her father, Bith, and his people to flee to the western limits of the known world to escape the rising waters. They set out, but 2 of their ships are lost at sea. Only 3 men and 50 women, including Cessair, survive and land in Ireland. The women are divided between the 3 men, but they do not survive for long. The flood eventually claims them all except a man called Feuchamaich. He survives by changing into a salmon and hiding for a year under the water in a cave, which came to be known as Fintan's Grave. He lived there for 5,500 years after the flood, living as the animals of Ireland, and was referred to as the White Ancient. Okay, the second invasion, the second settlement in Ireland was led by Partholon. Like Cesar and the Gaels who settled in Iberia, Partholon was a descendant of Noah. Partholon arrived in Ireland 300 years after the flood with his 3 sons and their tribesmen. They only enjoy a brief period of peace, however. Within 10 years of arrival, they find themselves under attack by a fierce tribe of seafarers called the Fomorians, a semi-divine race said to represent chaos. The Partholonians fight off the Fomorians, but they still don't find peace. Soon they are wiped out by plague. The Book of Invasion recounts that 5,000 men and 4,000 women were lost. They lost their lives and were buried on the plain of Elta to the southwest of Dublin, the area known in Ireland today as Tulloch, which means plague grave. Now the third invasion, the next settlement in Ireland, involved the Nemedians. Nemed was a great-grandson of Partholon's brother, so the connection with Ireland was already established. Nemed and his followers arrived in Ireland 30 years after the Partholonians were wiped out by plague. They too have a difficult time and find themselves under constant attack from the Fomorians. Eventually, both sets of warriors are killed in a great sea battle. The remaining Nemedians die when a second great flood covers the land. The few remaining survivors flee for their lives. One group settles in Greece, where they are treated as slaves. Alright, the fourth invasion. A few survivors that fled for their lives and settled in Greece were treated as slaves upon their arrival during the third invasion. Now, more than 200 years after the death of Nemed, they managed to escape and flee back to Ireland. These people became known as the Fir Bolg, or bagmen, because while in Greece their job was to move dirt from the top of a mountain to the valley to make fertile farmlands. They carried the dirt in bags, so bagmen. Although their story is surrounded by myth, it's thought that they may be based on a real group of people. They were said to have introduced the idea of kingship and systems of justice in Ireland. Their newfound freedom and civilization was short-lived. However, they enjoyed 37 years of peace before they find themselves under attack from Ireland's most famous mythological invaders, the Tuath Danann. Now, the first 4 groups were wiped out or forced to abandon the island. Now, during the 5th invasion, the Tuath Danann are probably the best known of the mythological tribes who are said to have invaded Ireland during its ancient past. Their story is told in the Book of Invasions, the history of Ireland compiled by Irish scholars in the 11th century. The book was originally intended as an accurate history, is widely regarded as being almost entirely mythological, and it contains some of Ireland's richest folklore. Tuath Danann means the people of the goddess Danu, and like the Fir Bolg, they were said to be descendants of Nemed, who had led an invasion of Ireland several hundred years earlier. Now, according to legend, the Tuath came to Ireland on clouds from the north, or on ships which they burnt as soon as they landed to make sure that they could not retreat. The Tuath defeated the Fir Bolg to take control of Ireland, but like many groups of invaders before them, they too found themselves under constant attack by the fierce semi-divine tribe of giants known as the Fomorians. They survived and were later credited for having brought both Druid law and chariots to Ireland. They stayed in Ireland and they were assimilated into the next group that conquered the island, the Milesians. Now, the Tuath Danann were replaced or assimilated by the supposed final wave of invaders, and these were the Milesians, the Gaelic people who at first mentioned towards the beginning of the Book of Invasions. These are the people descended from the Gaidhlig, who created the Gaelic language from 72 ancient languages, according to legend, following the fall of the Tower of Babel in the Bible, which I find interesting because you can find similarities in Gaelic to some ancient words in Greek, Spanish, or German. And there was even a Gaelic speaker who studied the American Indians and noted similarities in some of their languages. John Ross, who actually was a leader of the Cherokee for 40 years. A good Scotsman there. Now his people eventually settled in Galatia. The Tuath Danann. No. Okay, yeah, I'm talking. Yeah. They eventually settled in Galatia in northwest Spain, where they became known as the Gaels, one of his descendants. Now, Ith sees Ireland from the top of Brogan's Tower in the town of Bragantia, modern-day Corunna. Now, he goes to Ireland to see if it is as habitable as it appears, but he is killed by the Tuath Danann. His uncle, Emil Espene, sets out to avenge his death and conquer Ireland. As Mill marches towards Tara, the ancient seat of Ireland's kings, where he intends to take control, he is greeted by three sisters, Banba, Fodla, and Iru. Now, they are the queens of Ireland's three co-rulers. They each ask Mill to take the country after them. If he is successful, he promises to do so. Now, he fights several battles against the Tuath Danann, drawing on both military prowess and magic spells. He is successful, and Ireland is conquered, defeated. The Tuath Danann flee to the other world of the mysterious north and become the fairy people, or become the fairy people of the Irish folklore. Depends on which myth you read, what happens to them. Now, Mill keeps his word to the three sisters, and Ireland is named after all of them. But Iru is the one to be the most commonly used. The Milesians, the people from Galatia who became the Gaelic ancestors of the Irish people, are supposed to be Ireland's current occupants. But I suppose there's an exception. And that exception is the pesky seventh invasion, not mentioned in the Book of Invasions, and that is the Viking invasion. However, it seems that for all the horrors that the Vikings bestowed upon the Irish themselves, they were assimilated by the Irish, and it is said that they have become more Irish than the Irish themselves. So, that's it for Celtic History Break. Hope you liked it.
Dear sir, I write this note to you to tell you of my plight, for at the time of writing it, I'm not a pretty sight. My body is all black and blue, my face a deathly grey, and I write this note to say why I am not at work today. While working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear, but tossing them down from such a height was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't very pleased, he is an awkward sod, and he said I had to cart them down the ladders in me hod. Well, clearing all these bricks by hand, it was so very slow, so I hoisted up a barrel and secured a rope below. But in me haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks was heavier than me. And so when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead, and clinging tightly to the rope, I started up instead. I shot up like a rocket, and to my dismay I found that halfway up I met the bloody barrel coming down. Well, the barrel broke me shoulder as to the ground it sped, and when I reached the top I banged the pulley with me head. But I clung on tightly, numb with shock from this almighty blow, while the barrel spilled out half its bricks some 14 floors below. Now when these bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then outweighed the barrel and so started down once more. But I clung on tightly to the rope, me body racked with pain, and halfway down I met the bloody barrel once again. The force of this collision halfway down the office block caused multiple abrasions and a nasty case of shock. But I clung on tightly to the rope as I fell towards the ground, and I landed on the broken bricks the barrel had scattered round. Well, as I lay there on the floor, I thought I'd passed the worst, but the barrel hit the pulley wheel, and then the bottom burst. A shower of bricks rained down on me, I didn't have a hope. As I lay there bleeding on the ground, I let go the bloody rope. The barrel now being heavier, it started down once more. It landed right across me as I lay there on the floor. It broke 3 ribs in my left arm, and I can only say, I hope you'll understand why I am not at work today.
Alright, that was the Bricklayer's Song by the Corries. Now it's time for Everyday Celtic Ways. We're going to talk about why the Celts were so easily converted to Christianity. It was kind of a bloodless conquest versus how they had to force it on a lot of other people. Celts believed that the most important things in life come in threes. The 3 domains, land, sky, and sea. The 3 elements, earth, water, and fire. And 3 stages of a woman's life, maiden, mother, and crone. And many more examples. Now, Celts believed that each point of the Trinity knot symbolizes one part of each of these important trios. The Trinity knot, or Chuquetra, was used to symbolize the honor the mother, maiden, and crone of the neo-pagan triple goddess. Now it signifies the 3 life cycles of a woman in relation to the phases of the moon. In more recent times, it has become to be recognized as a symbol for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now the term Triquetra in archaeology is used of any figure consisting of 3 arcs, including pinwheel design of the type of the Triskells. Such symbols become frequent from about the 4th century BC and were found on ornamented ceramics of Anatolia and Persia and it appears on even early lichen coins. Now, the triquetra, the Trinity knot, as we know it today, is found on rune stones in northern Europe and on early Germanic coins, and then it bears a resemblance to the so-called Walnut, a design of 3 interlacing triangles. So with all these ancient civilizations having used this design of 3 interlacing triangles, one could hypothesize that the idea of 3 into 1, or 1 from 3, has been with us for thousands of years, even prior to Christianity emerging in Celtic regions. Now, this familiarity with the concept of the Trinity within the Celtic religion may have been why Christianity, the conversion to Christianity, was essentially bloodless. The pagan Celts easily understood when presented with the Christian Trinity. Today, this concept is so deeply ingrained in the heart and soul of the Celtic Christian. Their spirituality is based in the mystery of one God in 3 persons, a truth that is taught clearly in the Bible, even though the word Trinity is not even found in Scripture. Now, here is a profound experience of God from a people who were deeply Trinitarian, without any philosophical struggle about how that is to be expressed intellectually. Perhaps the legend of St. Patrick stooping down to pick up the shamrock in order to explain the Trinity is, after all, more significant than we might have thought. It is believed to have been a simple explanation of the Trinity. However, it is as though we were saying to those early Irish people, the God you have worshipped is a God who is 3 in 1, the same as mine. For a people so connected to nature and to their past, this is the most natural and immediate accessible thing he could have done to make them understand. Therefore, their conversion was easy. All right, and history proves it. All right, that's it for Everyday Celtic Ways. I hope you liked it. Alright, that was Rose and the Heather by William Coulter. That's on that Celtic Voyage CD. Check it out. It's a good CD. It's got a good variety of Celtic music. Now, that's it for today's show. You know me, I'm always trying to keep it interesting, informative, and fun by showing you that Celtic things are things of beauty. Now, I'd like to thank everyone for all the support and kind words. Top 11 Herchen. Thank you, friends. And, of course, that pesky little trivia answer. Now, on putting his name on the Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921, Michael Collins said, "I have signed my own death warrant." Now, I want you to watch for upcoming podcasts, because I'm going to have a multi-part Celtic history break about Michael Collins, who is a very important figure in Irish history. And not a whole lot of people know about him. All right. Remember to check out my YouTube channel, Olde Scot, learn the Gaelic song videos, my Celtic podcast videos, and all the speaking our language videos, and of course plenty more. Check out the Facebook group, Olde Scot, where you can give me all your insights and inputs. And that's it. Martian leaving draws to bye for now. I'll let you go with the song now. Quiet Land of Erin by Kim Robertson.